Huge thanks to Thunderbird Perch for making this possible. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. We are all aliens somewhere. This is a truth you learn after decades in the trades. When you spend your life framing houses, you see things clearly. You see how the system is put together, beam by beam. You see who benefits from the way things are designed, and you see who is left holding the weight, with their backs breaking under the strain. The conversation about immigration often gets stuck on the people crossing borders. It rarely looks at the economic structures that are waiting for them, hungry for their cheap labor. This isn't an accident. It is by design. The entire system is built to profit from keeping a group of people in a state of vulnerability. This framing is not new. For years, the narrative has been carefully managed. It has been shaped to make us look at the worker, not the boss. It makes us ask why someone would come here without papers. It rarely makes us ask why a powerful company would hire them. This focus is a distraction. It keeps us from following the money. It prevents us from seeing the real beneficiaries of this arrangement. The truth is that undocumented labor is a massive unspoken subsidy. It props up entire industries. Let's look at a real-world example. Think about a new suburban housing development. A large developer buys a huge tract of land. They plan to build hundreds of homes. To maximize their profit, they need to keep construction costs as low as possible. Labor is one of the biggest expenses, so the developer hires subcontractors. These subcontractors are often pressured to submit the lowest possible bid to win the contract. To make their bid competitive, they know they must cut their labor costs dramatically. This is where the undocumented worker enters the picture. The system incentivizes finding the cheapest possible labor, regardless of legality or safety. The subcontractor then hires a crew. Many of these workers may lack legal authorization to work. They are paid in cash, under the table. They receive a flat daily rate, far below the minimum wage when you count the long hours. There is no overtime pay. There are no benefits like health insurance or workers' compensation. If a worker gets injured on the job, they are on their own. They might be dropped off at an emergency room with a fake story or simply abandoned. The profits from this system do not stop with the subcontractor or the developer. They flow upward, creating a long, complex chain of beneficiaries. The developer who built the houses with cheap labor can now sell them for a large profit. The bank that provided the construction loan gets its money back with interest. Lower construction costs made the project seem safer and more profitable from the start. The bank's risk was reduced because the developer's costs were artificially low. Major financial institutions become silent partners in the exploitation of labor. They profit without getting their hands dirty. The ripple effect reaches the corporate world. Suppliers of construction materials also benefit. Lumber, concrete, drywall. Suppliers see increased sales volumes. Shareholders see stock values rise. The ecosystem is fed by savings from the bottom of the pyramid. A single framer paid in cash contributes to a massive corporation's quarterly earnings. This is labor arbitrage, exploiting wage differences and weaker legal protections to maximize profit. So, what can be done? The first and most crucial step is to change where we focus our enforcement efforts. For too long, the system has targeted the most vulnerable people within it, the workers. Imagine if we shifted that focus to the employers who knowingly and systematically exploit them. What if we conducted regular, rigorous audits of payrolls in industries known for abuse, construction, agriculture? What if the fines for wage theft hiring undocumented workers were so severe that they far outweighed any potential savings? This would change the economic calculation. It would make exploitation a bad business decision. We must also demand stronger policies and better laws. Strengthen wage and hour laws to protect all workers, regardless of their immigration status. Create safe, anonymous channels for workers to report abuse without fear of deportation. This is called a firewall, a separation between labor enforcement and immigration enforcement. It lets a worker report a safety violation or stolen wages without worrying their boss will call ICE on them. Push for laws that hold companies at the top of the supply chain accountable: the developer, the bank, not just the small subcontractor. Community action is equally vital. We can all play a role. Support labor unions that organize and empower vulnerable workers. Donate to legal aid organizations fighting wage theft. As consumers, make conscious choices. Ask questions and support businesses that treat workers fairly and ethically. Public pressure can be a powerful tool. Shaming exploitative companies can damage their brand and affect their bottom line. Profiting from human misery is not acceptable in our communities. This is not a hopeless fight. Change is possible, but it requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Stop seeing this as an immigration problem and see it for what it is, a labor exploitation problem. Thanks for being here. Credit Thunderbird Perch. Subscribe, like, and share to keep this conversation moving. Thunderbird Perch. Subscribe, like, share.